Hey y'all, it's Tamesha and welcome back to Did You Say Something? If you didn't know, this podcast actually started because of the Planner Wedding magazine. We launched the magazine in December 2021 and ran strong through December 2024. It became a space for couples who wanted more than surface level wedding talk. After 3 great years, we paused, not to quit, but to regroup, breathe, and plan for what's next. And now we're coming back with fresh new issues in 2026. The podcast was born from that same energy, real conversations about what happens before the wedding and everything that follows. Because the day is important, but the marriage, the life you build, that's the real work. And if you're planning right now and need support, my team at FMTY Weddings and Corporate Events is here for that too. We plan intimate, purposeful events across Georgia, the Carolinas, and beyond. You can learn more at theplannerwedmagazine.com and fmtyweddingsandevents.com. Now, let's get into this week's episode. Hey friends, it's your girl, Tamesha Kinloch Carter, and welcome back to Did You Say Something? The podcast where we keep it real about weddings, lifestyle, and everything in between. Now listen, we've all had that moment when a vendor suddenly stops replying or checking in. You are checking your inbox, you're refreshing your DMs, and you're wondering, did they forget about me? Did I say something wrong? Well, today we're talking about it. What to do when a vendor ghosts you, how to spot the red flags before it happens, and how to protect your peace and your planning timeline. Let's go ahead and get into it. And as always, I ask you to grab your paper, your pen, and your favorite glass of wine, or whatever drink you decide to choose to drink on the day. Okay, let's talk about the G word, ghosting. It's not just for dating anymore. It actually happens in the wedding and event world too. Maybe your makeup artist stops replying after you had your trial run with her, or your decorator says, let me send over the invoice tonight. And 3 weeks later, they're crickets chirping. I've seen it from both sides, as a planner and as a client. Sometimes it's just bad communication. Sometimes it's burnout. And sometimes it's a lack of business boundaries or professionalism. A few years ago, I had a couple planning this gorgeous spring wedding. Beautiful pastel flowers, romantic candlelight, the whole vibe. Everything was locked in, or so we thought. And about 6 weeks before the wedding, the bride called me one morning sounding super stressed. She said, Tamesha, I've emailed the florist twice and I texted her, no response. Now, as a planner, my first instinct is to stay calm because if I panic, then my client's anxiety is going to double, maybe even triple. And we definitely don't want that. So I reached out myself professionally, politely, and still nothing. Not a single word. A week goes by. At this point, I'm like, okay, this isn't communication delay. This is just plain old ghosting. So I did what any seasoned planner would do. I pivoted. I went through my trusted vendor list. I called the florist that I knew that could deliver quality, excellent work under pressure. And within 48 hours, true to form, we had a new contract, fresh inspiration boards, and everything back on track. The bride never missed a beat. Her flowers arrived beautiful, on time, and stress-free. And guess what? A full week later, a whole week later, after the wedding, the original florist finally emailed back saying that she had a lot going on. And listen, I understood that life happens because it happens to everyone. But professionalism is about communication. A simple message saying, hey, I'm running behind could have saved everyone the stress. That moment reminded me planners aren't just creatives. We're crisis managers, communicators, and sometimes miracle workers. Our calm is what keeps everything from collapsing. And that's what we do as planners. We manage the fire before our clients even smell the smoke. And here's the thing, not all ghosting is malicious. Sometimes it's poor systems. Maybe they're a solo entrepreneur juggling 20 weddings and forget to set up a CRM. Maybe they're afraid to say they're behind on deliverables. But then there are times when ghosting is a sign of disorganization, poor communication, or even fraud. You got that right. And that's why it's so important to vet your vendors, not just by their Instagram feed, but by their professionalism. All right, let's break this down so you know what to look for when a vendor starts acting, well, a little shady. First up, the difference between a slow response and a silent disappearance. Now, I get it. Sometimes vendors are busy. I know I'm busy. Maybe they're juggling 10 weddings at once or 10 events at once. That's fine. A slow response is normal. But when the emails, texts, and calls stop entirely, that's not a hiccup. That's a red flag. And you can't just brush it off. Next, there's burnout. Burnout in the wedding industry is prevalent. Listen, I've been in this business long enough to know it's high pressure, tight timelines, emotional clients, crazy logistics. It's a lot. Vendors get tired, they get stressed, but burnout doesn't give them a free pass to ghost you. A professional will communicate even when things get messy. Which brings me to contracts and deposits. Friends, contracts aren't optional, they're your safety net. They protect you and them. And deposits, they're not just about money, they're about commitment and accountability. No contract, no deposit. Pause, pump the brakes, and ask questions. Protect your day. And finally, spotting red flags before you even book. Watch for the things like no contract, no portfolio, no references, or vague payment terms. Any of these are signs you need to stop and reassess because your peace of mind is worth more than a maybe vendor. Remember, a wedding is one day, but the stress from poor vendor choices can last way longer. Keep your eyes open, protect your peace, open your eyes, protect your peace, open your eyes, protect your peace, and don't be afraid to say no thank you. So you may be asking, when it happens, what do I do? Okay, so let's say it's already happened. Your vendor ghosted you. Here's how to handle it without panicking or blowing up on Instagram stories. Step-by-step breakdown. You ready? Number one, give grace, but set a timeline. Reach out professionally. Give them a window to respond within 48 hours tops. Number two, keep all communication in writing. If you talk via DMs, move that conversation to email. You will thank yourself later. Number three, check your contract. Most solid contracts have a non-performance clause, meaning you can terminate and find a replacement. Number four, have your planner step in. A professional planner will often have backup vendors on standby. We don't panic, we pivot. Number five, stay calm and document everything. If a refund is due, handle it through documentation, not emotion. Here's a quote that I feel like you need. A professional never needs to chase. They follow up strategically and protect themselves with paper trails. So, how do you spot red flags? Before you even sign that contract, pay attention to the patterns. Red flags that you need to be aware of, they only communicate through social media DMs. Their response time is inconsistent. They can't provide proof of business license, reviews, EIN, etc. They ask for full payment upfront before a contract is signed. They badmouth other vendors or clients. If your vendor doesn't have a contract, you don't have a vendor. You have a conversation. And conversations don't protect you. So, how planners protect you? This is where having a planner changes everything. A planner knows the difference between a delay and a disaster. We build relationships with reliable vendors who've proven themselves. So, when ghosting happens, we already have a plan B, sometimes even a plan C. Okay? Making sure that you have all these things in place will help keep you from having a disaster. All right? Here's a friendly reminder, and here's your reminder, I should say. Ghosting doesn't define your wedding or your worth. It's just a moment that needs managing with grace and strategy. Protect your peace, protect your plan, and protect your paper with contracts, clear communication, and professionals who actually care. And remember, a vibe can't save your wedding day, but a solid business can. If today's episode helped you see that you're wedding planning differently, share this with another bride or planner who needs it. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Tamesha Kinloch Carter, and stay tuned for the next episode on next week, episode 15, season 4, Midlife Glow Up, Confidence, Clarity, and Clean Boundaries. Because listen, 50 isn't the finish line. It's the next evolution. See you next time.